My shop has been an absolute mess ever since we bought this place and I moved in. And honestly, it's costing me time on every single project I do, whether it's a huge project like the cabinets or a simple project of just fixing a car. I can't find anything. And I finally fixed that. And by the end of this, I'll have 18 drawers and a workbench that you see behind me that will make productivity so much faster, as well as a setup that just makes sense and more organized. So let's get started. Before I touched a tool or anything, I designed all of this in SketchUp. And let me tell you, this really does save a lot of time and headache in the build process. And it let me lay out this whole setup before even getting started at all or purchasing any wood. I even have a cut list that I use to build all of these. So if you like that, I will leave that in the link in the description. For all the cabinet boxes, I use 3/4 inch birch plywood from Menards. And honestly, I'm gonna say it, the lumber from Menards is better than the stuff that I used it from Home Depot. But I wanna hear from you. Have you ever had an experience between Home Depot and Menards lumber? Let me know in the comments. And let everybody know what you prefer. Breaking down plywood can be a bit of a pain, but using a track saw definitely speeds up the process. It makes everything more accurate and saves time in the long run. It does cost a little bit of money to invest into it, and you can do everything with a straight edge and a circular saw, but a track saw definitely makes the process more enjoyable and easier at the same time. I cut as much as I could with the track saw, and I got all of the big cuts done, and then I moved on to the table saw. Having a table saw built into a workbench like this definitely makes a difference. It makes everything easier as far as feeding large pieces through and still having an outfeed to support all of your cuts. It's definitely way safer, way faster, and you get better cuts in the long run. And honestly, I don't think I'll ever go back to a circular saw and a straight edge. Having a table saw and a track saw just makes everything more enjoyable and projects get done faster in the end. Once all the cabinet boxes were cut, I started on the assembly. I went through and I pre-drilled everything, that way none of my plywood would split. When it splits, the screws just don't really hold as well anymore. And if you skip the pre-drilling, they will split. Ask me how I know. You can use glue if you want to when you assemble these. It's not really needed, but I did use glue just for a little extra reinforcement. So before installing anything, I had to deal with the absolute disaster of a workbench and clutter of tools and everything that I had. Yeah, it wasn't great. So everything just got shoved into a pile and I'll deal with it later, like most people do. After I got the clutter of stuff moved out of the way, I thought, if I am ever gonna paint this shop, I am gonna have to do it now. That way I don't have to paint above the new cabinets and everything. And it'll be easier to paint. So I primed it, painted it, and put a quick coat on, and it's a huge difference. Quick and simple, like most painting projects are, and if you know, you know. So now it's on to the toe kicks before we set the cabinets. I build my toe kicks separately rather than building them into the cabinet boxes. It makes it so you can just level the toe kicks and then set the cabinet boxes on top. I used a laser level to level a line all the way across, and then I just put all the toe kicks right at that line and then use a level to level from the wall to the front. I used 2x4s for all of my toe kicks. That way it'll give me about a 3.5 inch toe kick. So now where the fun part actually starts, which is setting the cabinets in place. I set everything out where they go. I did 2 banks of 2 and then 2 banks of 1. So I have 6 cabinets in total. If your wall doesn't run level, you can use shims at the back, which most garages are probably not going to be level walls unless you built it yourself. I didn't build this, so it's a little wonky here and there. Nothing's really straight. After I got all the cabinet boxes attached and screwed into place, I did put the laser level back up, and I was about 1/8 of an inch within level on all 6 of the cabinets. I consider that a win, and it'll do for me. That's pretty close. I'll take that all day. Before you install your workbench top, whatever you decide to go with, I suggest installing your drawer slides first. You'll be able to access the back of the drawer slides easier with the top not being on, and it'll just make everything all together an easier process without having to climb inside the cabinet boxes. Here's a tip when you install the slides. I knew exactly where all of my drawers were gonna be, so I knew exactly what height all of my drawer slides were gonna be at. So that way, I made every single one of the cabinet boxes with the same size drawers, just to make installing easier. You can cut spacers so that you can just slap them up against the wall and set your drawer slides on top of it and screw it in. It makes installing drawer slides quick and easy, and I highly suggest doing it this way rather than measuring each one out and trying to level it, which you'll never get a level that way without having some sort of spacer to hold it. Now for the workbench top itself. There are a lot of different ways you can go about this. You can do just regular plywood, you can do laminate, you can do MDF with like a laminate on top of that. I went just straight MDF to match my workbench, and I put a 1/4 inch sheet of plywood underneath of it, put a layer of glue and laminated that together, and that will give me a even 1 inch top. I really like how the workbench worked out. It's nice and smooth and flat, and the good thing about MDF is it is smooth and flat as long as whatever you set it on is level and flat. How many more times can I say flat? Flat, 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 flat. For all the edges, I did poplar for the edge banding. I took 1x4s and I cut them down into 1 inch strips. So I have 3/4 inch by 1 inch. And I glued all that and brad nailed that on. It gives a good look as far as the different tones from the MDF with the shellac and the poplar with the shellac. It's a nice contrast. I think it looks pretty good. Before you finish it, hit it with a 1/4 inch round over to round off all the sharp edges. That way when you lean up against it, it's not so pokey. Nobody likes a pokey top. But here's the big thing with MDF. MDF does soak up moisture because it is a bunch of sawdust glued together. You need to seal the top, and for that I use shellac, the same as I did for my workbench as well. So when you put your shellac on, you want to put a coat on, and I use a foam roller just for speeding up the process. And then let that sit for about a full day, at least 12 hours to let it soak in and harden. If you don't, every layer will continue to soak in. I've been there, done that. Make sure you let it dry before you put the second coat on. So when you put that second coat on, you can use a brush, and that way you can put it on a little bit thicker and smooth it out. You want to make sure that it's smooth because when it hardens, it will be very hard. The only way to redo a not smooth surface is to sand it down and recoat it. And sanding shellac on top of MDF, not the funnest thing in the world. I wouldn't recommend it. Try to get it done in 2 coats. Once you get the top done, now it's on to the actual drawer boxes themselves. As with the cabinet boxes, I ripped everything down with a track saw, down to manageable pieces, which makes it so much easier. And then I ran everything through the table saw. The table saw again makes everything quick and easy and very accurate, repeatable cuts. That's all you need, is everything to be the same size throughout. Like I said before, I only have 3 different size drawers, which makes everything so much easier, and that way I don't have 7 different size drawers to worry about and keep straight. Once you have all these pieces of wood cut, it can be very confusing, and the less pieces you have that are different, the better. When I went to assemble all the drawer boxes, this is where I kind of messed up. I looked into it and I realized that I used pre-finished, the UV pre-finished birch plywood, and glue does not stick to that. So when I assembled the drawers, I had to sand down all the edges where all the glue is going to be meeting. That's not a fun experience. If I had to do it again, I would definitely not use the pre-finished. I would just use a regular sanded or something without a coating on it. Once I had everything sanded to the point to where I was ready, I started drilling all the pocket holes. Make sure to only drill on the front and the back sides of the drawers, that way they're hidden. The front will be hidden by the drawer front, and the back you'll never see because the drawer won't come out. Don't drill them in the sides. It'll look silly. This was a lot of pocket holes, but once you do a couple of them, you start to get in a rhythm, and just throw in your earbuds and listen to some music and chew up a little bit of wood with your drill bits. I do highly recommend using a pocket hole jig like the one I have from Craig. It definitely speeds up the process. They do have higher end ones, but unless you're doing this on a daily basis, this is all the one you need. Again, for the drawer bottoms, these are just going to get nailed and glued on. The glue is going to hold it, the nails are just there to hold it until the glue dries. But just like with all the sides, I had to shave off some so that the glue would stick to it. I got a little bit smarter here, and I put my dado blade in at 1/2 inch, and I set the table saw just to take off just a hair, just to take off the finish, that way the glue will stick to it. I could run all 4 sides of the drawer boxes through, and this was way better than sanding down everything. So if you do use pre-finished, try this. Get a dado blade and just take off a 1/16 of an inch of everything. Once you have everything built, Now, all you have to do is just install everything. This is a pretty simple process. I used, again, a spacer to hold all of the drawer boxes at the height that I wanted. I went 1/2 inch off of the drawer box bottom and just pulled the slides out a little bit, threw a screw on each side, pulled the drawer halfway out, threw the second set of screws in, and then you can pull the drawer box out all the way and install the back screws. Then just slide it back in. I did 1 inch in between every consecutive drawer after that, and that was the same way. I just set a spacer on top of the previous drawer and then did 1, 2, 3, and then another spacer, and then 1, 2, 3. Once, just like the pocket holes, once you get in a rhythm, it actually starts going pretty quick. So now all that's left is the drawer fronts. I drilled all the holes for the door pulls first. This will become a little more apparent why I did this in a little bit. But I used a Mastercraft jig where you can just set your measurements and then just drill 2 holes. It makes it a very repeatable process and speeds up the process quite a bit. I'll leave a link in the description to that jig as well as some of the other ones that I used so that you guys can go pick that up if you're trying to tackle something like this. So this is a good time to ask you guys to give this video a like and subscribe. I'm trying to go for 20,000 subscribers by the end of 2026. If you guys can help me along in that, that would be great. Once you have all the door pull holes drilled, we can start putting them on the drawers themselves. Find a way to hold the drawer front up at your desired height. I used, I think, a 4x4 and set that underneath there, and I can set my drawer front right on top of that. You can take 2 screws and run it through your holes for the door pulls, and that'll hold it in place. Then I went to the 3D printer and I printed some spacers that sit right on top of your previous drawer front to give you the exact spacing in between each one so that you have a consistent look. Then it's just repeat the process, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and complete all 6 of your cabinet boxes. And just like everything in this video, it might be a little bit of a struggle at the beginning, but by the end you're gonna get into a rhythm and it's gonna go a lot faster with each one you do. At the end I decided to put in my miter saw, and this I did the same thing. I used a 3/4 inch MDF with a 1/4 inch laminated piece of plywood on the bottom of it to give it the 1 inch so that everything matches. I put poplar on the front for the edge banding, and I set everything to the height of my miter saw so that when I slid in the top that matches all of my workbenches, it'll be exact height and I won't have to have any gap when I go to cut something. If you're worried about getting it exactly right, you can actually set it just a little bit lower than what the depth of your saw is. And then you can use playing cards to actually shim it up. Playing cards work great for very thin shims if you just need to move it a little bit. And then throw 3 screws on each side and then mount your saw in. And just like that, I'm gonna have a place to put everything, more organized, more efficient, and it'll look better in the end as well. Honestly, I should have done this way sooner. I don't know what took me so long, just probably putting it off. But now that it's done and I've been using it for a little while, I can't imagine not having this. I will be making more videos on how I organize everything in here, and a lot of it is going to be to do with the 3D printer. Like the wall that I have back here, I do have a video on that already. I will leave a link in the description to that, as well as this video up here. And don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more content, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.